So as I said you, similarly here also you can do it with non-keyword argument and keyword argument also. Like here you are passing x is equal to 2. In place of 2, let me take it 12. In place of y, let me take it 23. And here let me take it 47. Now based on this value, when you will going to pass this keyword argument, this will going to call sum. This sum is what it this sum function, what it will going to do, it will just accept this keyword value, means it follow the key value pair. So let me first run this separately. So here not only you can means not only you can just specify the operation, like this x plus y plus z or x into y into z. You can use the another function and you can perform operation on that also. Now here you can see it, what I did, lambda keyword argument, means I'm passing the set of keyword argument. This keyword argument will going to work on this function sum, and this sum function will going to return the sum of a value that I'm passing in the iterable format. Iterable format in the sense, like as you know, keyword argument is like a key and value. So whatever is the value for that particular key at starting index 0, it will going to iterate based on that starting index 0, and it will going to print it. As you can see on my screen, return the sum of a start value default 0 plus iterable of a number, means it will going to iterate from 0 till 2, right? Because here 0 will be your index, means value 12. At one iterable the value will become 23, and one iterable the value will become 41, means it will take as a value, or in iterable format it will going to give the sum of that, and then it will based on that the this parameter, the keyword argument that you want to perform, based on that it will going to work. So this function keyword argument dot value will going to take the value of this keyword 12, 23, and 41, and it will going to do this sum 76. Is it clear here? It is like that only what we have seen here also. It is doing the sum on this argument, so it is going to iterate on that argument. This sum variable is iterate on this set of argument that you are accepting. Here you don't need to add anything dot values because it's a normal non-keyword argument, but it is keyword argument which is in the form of key and value. So this sum function will going to iterate on the set of value that you are reading it. Suppose here I'm adding one more variable with a is equal to 2, and it will going to print 78. So how many time it is iterating? Here it is iterating almost 4 times from 0 to 3, iterating 4 times from 0 to 3. 0 will be your 12, 1 will be 23, 2 will be 41, and in 3 in the case 2, means it will be iterate 4 times, take the value present at the indexes, and it will going to sum it. If you don't understand even a sum or if any function, just hover the cursor over that keyword, it will going to give you the complete detail of that. In any code, whatever code I share with you, or even if you are taking a reference from other code, just when you're working on the collab or in a notebook also, just hover or take the cursor over that function. It will going to give you the detail of that, what that function will going to do, what is accepting, what is writing, what a parameter it is accepting, like this. Iterable, and start will be starting from the default 0 value, and this iterable means it will going to iterate till time. Is it clear to you how you can use keyword argument, non keyword argument with this lambda functions?
Yes.
Okay. Similarly, you can use lambda function inside your function also. Like here you can create a function, and inside this function, instead of writing uh, an expression, you are just using another function. Means it means that you are using anonymous function inside a function. If somebody asks you or give you a scenario that I want anonymous function as a nested function inside, or like if they ask you I want an anonymous function inside any function, then this kind of implementation you can do it. This lambda keyword will going to work on this argument a, and this argument means when you call this function, 2 will be initialized to here. This lambda a is equal to a into n. So let me run this first. It is printing you 22, right? Why it is printing 22? Because see here how the flow is working. You are calling this lambda function, which is my doubler, one variable you have created. You have assigned this function to that, and that function is internally calling this lambda expression. So when you call this 2 will be going to initialize to this n, and this lambda function a value you are passing when you call this variable, variable, right? As you know that lambda expression, we have seen it here also, this one, right? The syntax is how, what actually the syntax is, the variable name equal to lambda keyword, then your variable, you can say it variable name or lambda name, whatever it is. You can say it like this: lambda variable, lambda keyword, variable, and the operation that you want to do it here. So here this variable name, if you see here, print my doubler 11, this is your variable name. My function is a one function. Inside this function you are using this lambda keyword, and this is your expression. Okay, so when you want to execute it, you just need to assign this value 11. This 11 will be going to assign to this lambda a, right? A lambda variable, not to this function n. This function n value will be initialized when you assign to this variable. uh, am I able to like explain you clearly, or like you are getting confused in this, like how the flow is going? Tejas ma'am, is it clear to you like how the flow is going?
Clear to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can ask, like, in case if you don't understand. I think Tejas might he has done work, so he know it. But ma'am, like if you are not getting, you can ask it. You just need to remember the flow. Like you are creating a function here. Inside this function, you are calling the lambda expression. This is your variable lambda keyword. This is your expression. And when you, instead of uh, printing that variable lambda variable, you are calling the function. You are assigning a value 2 here. This 2 value will be initialized here. It will be initialized to here too, and when you want to print it, just print this variable and initialize 11 here. So this 11 will be going to initialize to a, and this 2 will be initialized to n. So 11 into 2, it will going to print 22. If you want to change it, you can change it to 10 and then call it. It will going to print 20. So that 10 was initialized to this a, and this 2 that you are calling from here will be initialized to this n.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so similarly, there is a other function. Now here you can see it. This is one more function. You have created define cube y, and it is going to returning the cube of any number. Okay, this is a normal function we usually write down. And with a lambda also, how you can do it? Lambda x into 3 times x. So are you using any name of a function here? No, right? You are just initialized to this variable g, and you are just as initializing a value here 7, and then you are printing it, right? So just see this output of, and just see this code. When you write this cube 5, this 5 will be going to copy here. It will going to return 5 cube, that is your 125. Similarly here, you are not returning anything. You have not made any function here. What you did here, you just created a lambda expression here, and you assign the content of that lambda expression to a variable g, and while calling you just assign this 7 to it. So this 7 will be initialized to this x, and this cube of the 7 will be going to print 343. So while printing, just you call it print g7. So like this it works. So the difference between these two is, here you are creating this user defined function, and here you are creating the lambda expression. The difference only these two. So based on this, which are occupying the length, which is easy here, obviously this one, because the thing is that you are not creating any function name, because in the lengthy code you need to remember the function name and all, and in it will take time also for the compiler to take the flow. As at the start Tejas said that it reduced the length of code, it was correct. It reduces your length of code and the effort of compiler. Compiler will directly get the expression here, and it will going to print it here. It don't Compiler don't need to take the flow to the cube function, then read the y and print it. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. So can you do this lambda expression today? Can you run this code and just try this two code, string handling, string function, and this lambda expression. So in the next class onward, I will going to start your data structure. Tejas, data structure, are you aware about it?
Data structure like what?
Like stack, queue, tuple, set. These are you aware? I think dictionary and all. But what about this?
I know how, like I'll know about like 30 to 40% of these.
Okay, actually it is in engineering subjects, engineering syllabus like stack, queue, but I will going to explain you with an example. And one more thing I wanted to add, annotation. Do you know about what is annotation? Have you heard this term?
No.
And okay, this annotation is usually used to add a metadata about your code. Metadata in the sense like, you might have seen, I think, in some code, uh, in Java and something, like we write like this: add, add rate operator, suppress warning like this, add rate symbol, decorator or annotation we say it.
Yes.
So here in the same way, annotation is we represented like this: underscore symbol, this annotation, and this underscore. What is this annotation? It is actually telling you the metadata about your function. The function that we are writing it, it's telling us what actually the data. Metadata means it's tell you the data about data. What actually the data is, what actually the function will going to do. That is called metadata. Now if I say you, your, for example, your name, okay, or let's take example like Python programming. What is the metadata for this Python programming? So metadata for this Python programming is like, if I say you Python programming descriptions. So this metadata means data about actually the data, like what actually the data is, whether it is character data, string data, number data. So metadata, why we use it to represent, like if you are using in a user defined function, what actually that function will going to do. Now just see this function. Can you just see this function and tell me like what actually this function is doing? Just have a look at this once on this function and try to tell me what actually they are doing. If you can just try once from your side, any of you. Am I audible?
Yes, you
Yes.
are.
So
Yeah.
first it will, I think first it will print the data of this function, what it's doing. Second line it will concatenate it, and the third line it will insert an and between it.
Okay, yeah. So you can see here, okay, f spam, right? The name of function is what here? F spam you are passing. Okay, now you just see here, this spam, okay, will going to copy to this string. So this annotation, you can see this line. This line is telling you what? This line is telling you that this ham is the argument which is accepting the string kind of data, means the data belong to class string. What it will going to return it? It will going to return the string that is also belong to class string. And the third one, egg. Egg is one value that you are reading it here, that was belong to class string. And then we, what is an argument here? Spam egg, right? So when it will going to print it, what it will going to print it? The value of ham, that is your spam. And it will going to print x. So what is the value of x? X is value this string, right? X colon string equal to x. So this value of this egg variable is this one. So annotation, how you are defining it? When you write this f spam annotation, this annotation, when you write this, f is what? The name of function. And when you write like this, it will giving you the detail of your argument, what kind of argument you're reading it, right? You can see this. Just, it is easy, not much difficult. Just try to understand what it is printing. First is annotation. Whatever you define within this double quote, it will print as it is. Then after that, f dot annotation. The way of declaring annotation is f dot annotation. It will going to tell you what this function is accepting from the user, what is actually they will going to print it. Third is second line, print argument ham x. Ham value is what? That you have passed spam here, right? Spam you are passing here. So this will initialize to this. And this egg value you are already initializing explicitly with equal to symbol, right? So this egg. Now the third one is return ham plus and x. So this will going to return ham and egg. So when you run this function while like this, it will first print your annotation, that will going to tell you what this argument will going to accept, which is of what data type, what class it belongs. Second is your return keyword, and third is your another argument, which is egg, what type of value it will going to return, or what type of data it belongs. Am I clear to you?
I have one doubt, like when we are declaring the function, we have written ham and then we written colon str.
Hmm.
So is it like to set which type of data type will it accept?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
So here it is written now. You can see class str. So here when you initialize a spam here, right? Because this is of string type. So when you initialize a spam here, obviously this is of string type, and it is telling you that this ham will going to accept the data or a value that will belong to class string. Str is a string class or data type in Python, right? And you can see this return keyword is there here. No, it is just telling you it will going to return the value that belong to class string. And then it will come to this egg, another argument, which is again will going to accept a string data type, which is based on this egg value. It has find it out from this egg and is arrow str. So it is telling you, means this you don't need to, means you are not doing anything here, you just calling this f dot annotation. F is your function name and dot annotation, this thing you need to edit. It will going to tell you the metadata, means what kind of function is accepting an argument, it belong to which class, and how it is printing. Am I clear now? Am I
Yes.
clear? Yeah. Just
Yes.
try this. You can do one thing, okay? With a normal program only, you try to use this annotation and see what metadata they are giving to you. This metadata is mm, important from the industry point of view, because when we work in the company also, this annotation is need you to find out or to tell the, like what kind of argument you are accepting. So just by looking into this annotation, anyone they can find it out what actually the type of data you are reading it, or what this function is accepting from the user, or what this function will going to do. So this is going to tell you the metadata. It means in short and simple word, it will tell you what actually this function is doing and on what data is doing. Am I clear?
Yeah, I guess I'll have to
Yes.
practice this a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. You can follow this link. Just for try to approach this. You just need to add this function name and this keyword, and inside the print, it will going to tell you what actually it will going to do. Let me try with a normal function if it is working or what, and based on that we can see it. Okay, it's giving an error. Is inconsistent use of tab. Okay, okay, let me remove this. I should add with a normal program. It's not printing anything. Mm,
You have not called the function.
yes, yes. No, I'm just checking what I should give it here. Only one p is equal to n equal to 2. Mm, some Okay, let's take with a single value only. Okay, but it's not printing anything here. That's why I'm okay. Let's take and take 0 in one position. Okay, one. mm, Let me try with other function because it is not giving anything here. We want a metadata of this function, and okay, let me try with p whatever n. So suppose okay, let me try. Okay, just 1 minute. Let me check. Def ham a string x annotation ham. Okay, I pass it spam here. It is initialized and it is printing. It is printing here value class str return. Okay. Mm. Let me try this with another function. 1 minute. I'm just checking whether it is while calling whether it is working or what. Just assigning 5, annotation none, annotation none. But why it's not giving any metadata to me? Annotation store attribute of function as a dictionary and have a no effect on any other of the function. Okay, parameter annotation are defined by colon. Okay, I think it's work when we give in a colons, means when you pass a value that are like this in a dictionary type of values, and here it is written annotation store in the annotation attribute of the function as a dictionary and have a no effect on other part of the function. Parameter annotation are defined by colon of the parameter, that is different thing, followed by expression evaluating the annotation. Return annotation are defined by, okay, this, okay, this thing we need it. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Here it is saying that in this annotation, it will going to be defined, means when we want to define any function in such a way that this string variable, actually this the whole content of this function f will be initialized, will be work on this string, right? This string colon. That's why this, when we pass this spam, sorry, when this pass this spam value, that spam value is actually the string data, and that is going to be, when we work this, when we use this arrow operator, that value will be initialized to this string, I think. 1 minute. Def ham string egg colon str colon. So when we call this spam of string class egg string egg, it will going to return this, an annotation it is printing hem of class string, returning of value that is of string type, and egg is of a class string. So this string colon, okay, let me run this function only and check it. I'm making some changes to this function. Annotation. Okay. Let me remove this. Okay, here create a new string object from the given object. Okay, it's a kind of dictionary. Okay, yeah. So it is argument and this keyword argument. So this string function in an arrow, it's an object, and that is accepting the argument, set of argument and keyword argument. New string from, if encoding default will be used. Okay, okay, yeah, here actually the thing is that it is saying that when we declare a function like this string function will be initialized with an set of an argument and a keyword argument. This will be act as an object here. You can see here, if I just uh, hover the cursor on that string variable, it is telling you that is accepting an object in the form of argument and keyword argument. So it is creating a new string object from the set of an object, like whatever we are reading it, it is creating the new string object from that. And that is the reason that when I'm using with the normal function, we are getting nothing in the annotation. It's not telling you any metadata in the sense it will going to tell. And why it is giving metadata here, because we are using this arrow symbol and we are using this string operator, right? So this string operator here is accepting the value in the form of argument and keyword argument, and it is creating the new object from the set of values that is reading. Am I clear to you? uh, I think Tejas, are you clear, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you? I have a lot of catching up to do. Would you send this recording to me, please?
Yes, yes, I will send you this link. Just remember one thing, it is accepting in the argument and keyword argument means it is accepting the object. Okay, that's the reason it is printing it. But when I print it for other, just when I use it in a single variable, and when I shown it here, it is not printing anything here, right? The reason because it is not in accepting a value in keyword argument, and it is not generating any new object. Okay, so I just upload this with codes on this GitHub, and I just share a video also. By the night I will upload it. Tomorrow you just have a look on this, and from Monday onwards, like sorry, from next class onward, we will start the data structure like. Okay,
Yes.
so this data structure in the sense like we will start list, tag, tuples, dictionary. We're going to start that.
Oh,
Okay, so just have a practice today, ma'am. You also spend some time on this code, and follow this Python org document. This document you follow it in case if you don't understand any flow, or start with the simple coding, then come to this complex one. Okay,
will you be able to send this recording by tonight
yeah, I
so
will
that
send the
I
recording.
have
Yeah,
tomorrow?
I will
Right.
going to upload in the night itself, so you can have a look tomorrow morning. By night I will upload it by 11.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, okay. Tejas, any question to you?
No.
Okay, yeah. So we will connect in the next class. Till then, you can have a look on this, and if you have any question, just ping on the Trello. I will see if annotation I get some more example. I will add it in the next class. I will show you more on this. You can also try from your side looking into this representation, where you are accepting keyword argument kind of uh, parameter.